Good morning. The Committee on Parole is called back to order. The time is 9:14. Today is October the 20th of 2022. We are at the East Baton Rouge Parish Jail, our remote facility there. With the staff there, please introduce themselves.
Derenne Carter.
Mr. Carter, is there anyone from the Sheriff's Office there with you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Sergeant Carteret from the Sheriff's Office is here with you.
Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate your being here with us. This is a probation revocation hearing. Our first case is going to be Mr. Derenne. How do you pronounce your name, sir?
Derenne.
Derenne. Mr. Derenne Carter. Mr. Carter, if you give us your full name and DOC number, please.
Derenne J Carter. My DOC number is 618662.
Mr. Carter, I want to explain our procedure to you. I'm going to cover with you your parole revocation questionnaire. Do you remember filling out that questionnaire?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that with you today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to get to it in just a second, but I'm going to go over that with you. Then I'm going to read the allegations of how it's alleged that you violated your parole. And then I'm going to ask you to plead either guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. You do have a supporter here today to speak with you. Ms. Tiara Jones is here to talk for you. And then we'll have a full discussion about the allegations. Do you understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
Now, you have that parole revocation questionnaire before you?
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that together. Is that your signature at the bottom? It looks like it's dated September the 20th of 2022.
Yes, sir.
You remember signing that?
Yes, sir.
Is all that information accurate and correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a lawyer, Mr. Carter?
Yes, sir.
Who's your lawyer?
Tiara Jones.
Is Ms. Jones present today with you?
Yes, that would be myself, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Jones is here, and she is going, I'm sorry, Ms. Jones, I didn't see that you were the attorney. I'm sorry, I thought you were simply a supporter. You're a supporter, but you're his lawyer supporter.
I'm both, a
Thank
combination
you.
of both.
You're both. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Carter, I'm going to read the allegations against you. Number 4, violation number 4 is on May the 18th of 2022. You were arrested by the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office on an active arrest warrant for the charge of domestic abuse battery, home invasion, interfering with emergency communications, and simple criminal damage to property. You were originally billed with domestic abuse battery, simple criminal damage to property, and interfering with emergency communications. According to the minutes on August the 11th of 2022, counts 1 and 3 were dismissed, and on August the 11th of 2022, you pled guilty to simple criminal damage to property. On the same date, the court sentenced you to 6 months confinement in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. Now, that's a lot of information to have read to you. Have you discussed this with your lawyer, and what do you wish to plead today to those charges?
I haven't clearly, we say guilty with a statement.
Okay. And rule number 10, you are currently in arrears in the amount of $127 on supervision fee payments. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
Mr. Carter, your case has been assigned to Mr. Alvin Roche. Mr. Roche will begin our process of discussing this case with you. So would you answer any questions he may have, please?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Roche.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Carter. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Mr. Carter, you said you pled guilty to criminal activity with a statement. So give us your statement and explanation on what happened when you were charged with domestic abuse, home invasion, and simple criminal damage to property.
Well, I really just plead guilty to the simple damage to property because the other charges were dismissed. But this whole situation was behind a cell phone, my simple damage to property. And you know, it just really was a misunderstanding behind it. But me and this person is not together anymore. I took future actions in the past by moving out. So I do have my own apartment that I'm still trying to maintain, you know, while I'm in here. And so I'm still established. I still have my car. Still, I could go back to my job, you know. So by that being said, like I said, I'm still established. So like sending me back to Department of Corrections would just, you know, set me back in life, you know. But
Now, tell me why you were arrested without admitting guilt. Why were you arrested? What was the allegation of the domestic abuse?
I was arrested because like I said, it was a situation behind a cell phone. And it was a little, you know, a little bit of shoving going on, something like that, I'd admit. And the phone wound up breaking, something like that. And, you know.
Oh, was it?
The phones originally was in my name and I paid for them, but we were on a contract together. So I had a phone and she had a phone. So yeah, it's her phone. Yeah, it's her phone. So that's what the simple damage to property is for. And that's what the situation is all about.
Why were you charged with home invasion?
I'm pretty not sure because they said that I forced myself, but I have a key to that apartment, so I don't know why I was charged with that. I really don't, but they said that I forced myself in the house.
Mr. Carter, have you ever been accused of domestic abuse before?
Accused?
Accused.
I think I have, yes.
Do you have a problem with anger management?
Yes, I could admit, yes.
Have you had any domestic abuse problems in the past?
No, I haven't had any. No, I haven't.
But you do have anger.
Yes, I can say yes, I have. I have.
And I appreciate the honesty because contrary to the belief by most offenders, we're not here to put you in jail. We're here to help you.
Yes, sir. And that's what I need now.
And we're here to protect society and the general public. Would you consider some domestic abuse program that would help you with your anger management problem?
Yes, sir, I would. I would like that. I would.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Any questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Carter, I do have one or two questions. Tell me about your job. Where were you working when you've been in jail since May? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working? What kind of job were you?
I was working at the St. Jenna plant in St. Gabriel. I was a technician.
Okay. And how long had you been on that job?
I was there 10 months.
And that job is waiting for you if you're able to get back out and go do it?
Yes, sir. They said just give them a call whenever I get back. They're always hiring.
How long have you been out on parole?
I was home 19 months.
And this is the first time you've had any kind of issue?
This was the first incident, sir.
Now, did you live at that apartment with this young woman?
Yes, at one point, yes, sir, I did. And
But you
then
weren't living there at this particular time?
not at this particular time.
All right. Thank you very much for your honesty. Appreciate your comments. Is there anything, Sergeant, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Carter that we might be helpful for us in making our decision?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, I don't have any knowledge of Mr. Carter.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Carter, is there anything you'd like to say to us before Ms. Jones wraps up for us? I assume, Ms. Jones, you want to go last?
That's correct, Judge.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say to us before Ms. Jones wraps it up for us?
Yes, sir. I just want to say that I take full responsibility for my actions, and I'm always remorseful to a person if I affect them in any kind of way. You know, that's pretty much it. And thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Good morning, members of the parole board. My name is Tiara Jones, and I do represent Mr. Carter. And I did represent Mr. Carter for the entirety of the particular case in which he was arrested on. I will say, Mr. Carter, in speaking with him myself, the few times I had been to the parish, he is not the most articulate when it comes to his words. He doesn't show very much emotion. I found that out after not only speaking with him, but speaking with his family members. In this particular situation, I am a criminal defense attorney. I also work with the Office of Public Defender. So I handle so many cases that are much like Mr. Carter's. I make it my business to do my due diligence when it comes to cases where a victim is involved. The alleged victim in the case did make a lot of contact with me. And I actually had concerns when I read the initial offense report and affidavit of probable cause. I have concerns when victims come to me because I feel that a lot of times there is this dependency upon the person. And this was not the case here. The actual victim in this case, there is a minor child that both parties share. The child's not even 1 year old. I believe the child is actually 10 months, if I'm not mistaken. And at this time, the child was actually a little bit younger. And the alleged victim in this case, I don't really want to go into what she told me she did and how she felt, but I can tell you since this incident has occurred, she has went and gotten herself some help, specifically spoken with somebody concerning postpartum depression. She spoke with me concerning the home invasion aspect. I will say Mr. Carter did take a lot of steps on his own to de-escalate the relationship situations that they were having. The first step was he did actually move out of the apartment. He was only out of the apartment for about 2 weeks before this incident occurred. And per my conversations with a few witnesses, as well as the alleged victim herself, there were some issues with him leaving. She did not want him to leave. Partially because of the minor child that they had together at that time. Again, she's gotten help. He had taken his steps. I had been in contact with Mr. Carter's sister, Miss Egypt, as well as his aunt, Miss Ernestine Carter, concerning if he's going to have a place to go if he is released, as well as, you know, if he has a job and is he willing to get some help with his anger management. I had also spoken with Mr. Carter's parole officer, Lane Linton, and referred the parole officer to the district attorney in this particular case. And so we kind of all work together. I call it a trifecta. I think that's how everything works best when it comes to these type of situations. It was myself working with the prosecutor, working with the parole officer, and that's how we kind of drafted this particular situation, the offer for the simple criminal damage to property with everything else being dismissed. And that was my understanding based off of the prosecutor's conversations with the alleged victim, as well as the information that I gave, the help that the alleged victim has gotten on her own, and Mr. Carter's willingness to get some anger management classes himself if he is released. I do have contact information, a company that I use all the time that does anger management and if necessary, even DVOP, domestic violence classes. Per my conversation with Lane Linton, the parole officer in this case, the parole officer was fine with recommending that Mr. Carter be placed back on parole with an added condition of anger management. The prosecutor was aware of this. The prosecutor actually was the person who actually gave that information to me prior to me speaking with the parole officer about it. So this offer was drafted, it was accepted and agreed based upon that being the situation with Mr. Carter. I have confirmed he does still have his apartment. His aunt, Miss Ernestine, has continued to pay. He had a little money saved over to pay his bills for an extended period of time that they had used to pay his rent and make sure his car and everything was paid for. He does still have his job. I do think Mr. Carter is able and willing to be a functioning member of society. I do think he would be a good candidate to have an anger management class while he continues to work and assist with the upbringing of the minor child that him and this young lady has as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones. Ms. Jones, let me just say to you, you probably know that I'm pretty quick to criticize lawyers a lot of times when they're not prepared. I just want to say how well prepared you are today and what a wonderful job you did for your client. You really carried the ball for him today. So very good job. Thank you very much. Is panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Not only did she carry the ball today, I can verify everything that she said with the trifecta with the district attorney's office and the parole agent, because the parole agent wrote all those notes in his report, and I can verify everything she said. And basically, I'm going to recommend the DVOP program because it does anger management plus domestic abuse. And I think he will get a well-rounded program to help him with his anger management problem. Mr. Carter?
Yes, sir.
Our recommendation is to vote. Do not revoke. But I want to add 2 conditions to the supervision.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, both of these conditions will help you to manage your life in the future.
Yes, sir.
First of all, immediately after release, I want you to complete a 26-week DVOP program.
Yes,
The
sir.
attorney said she has someone who does those programs and she can make sure that you're enrolled and complete that program. And the second condition is no contact with your female victim.
Yes, sir.
I got a
They
shot.
got a kid.
They got a kid, and those arrangements can be made by his attorney. But I think from what the attorney has told us this morning, that she was kind of miffed about moving out. And basically, if I put a no contact order, we have a valid reason for not being in her company.
Right.
That is my decision.
Mr. Freeman?
I'm also gonna vote to, not revoke you. I agree that you need the, domestic violence class, so I'm gonna go with that one. You have a child with this young lady. I at first put to stay away from the victim, then I heard you had a 10-month child, 10-month-old child, which I think you need to be in the child's life. I would suggest when you go to see your child, have somebody with you or bring the child to your family. So, have as little contact as you can.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Carter, my vote likewise is the same. The DVOP program is going to be very helpful to you. I also am concerned about the contact with the victim, but you've got a child, and that's something that I think needs to be done very carefully. So I'm going to suggest, perhaps if my colleagues agree, that something can be worked out with visitation or seeing your child, at least through your lawyer, Ms. Jones, if you are willing to attempt to work that out with him, so there can be, at least for a time, no contact between Mr. Carter and the victim in this case, and then leave it up to his parole officer at some point if the victim wishes to have some sort of contact with him, because they are co-parents and they do have to make some decisions together. Right now might not be the time for them to personally have those discussions. So Ms. Jones, if for the next 6 months, if you could somehow be involved and make sure there's supervision for him to be able to see his child, I'd like that done in coordination with the parole officer. Is that acceptable?
Mr. Chairman, I have amended my condition, no contact with male victim in the next 6 months.
Okay. Good luck to you, Mr. Carter. Again, Ms. Jones, great job. Thank you very much. Good seeing you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Bologna.
let's unpack this. If we ever need more proof about how important it is to not only get an attorney, but get an attorney that the board knows. We've seen other cases where attorneys are brought in from who knows where. You could clearly tell that they have no experience working with the board or relationship with the board, because that makes a big difference. I'll tell you something. I'm not happy with it. The wool was not covered over my eyes, and maybe that's because I have different information that the board doesn't have. Maybe it's because the information that I have isn't verifiable. I don't know. I'll include the link in the description, but this is what the information that I have that scares me. The incident of domestic abuse led to an arrest earlier this month, authorities say. According to the arrest report from the sheriff's office, the 28-year-old Derenne Carter into custody after an alleged allegation between Carter and his ex-girlfriend. What he did was, it says that the couple split up 2 weeks before. Carter went to the woman's house, or, to the apartment. He forced his way inside with a crowbar. Okay. He forced his way inside with a crowbar. He broke down her door with the crowbar. I assume the little baby was in the house during all this. Doesn't stop there. The arrest report adds that when she tried to get to her phone to call for help, Carter grabbed the device, smashed it, and then listen to this, he punched her in the face. So this terrified woman has this man, who now she's been broken up with for 2 weeks, break into her house with a crowbar, smash her phone when she's calling for 911, and punch her in the face. And I assume this was all in front of their little baby, their little newborn. The attorney then straight up victim blames. She hints that the victim is going through postpartum depression, that the victim is now seeking help. She was punched in the face. Hang on one second. I'll be back. Sorry about that. I just got really lost my thunder there. Punched her in the face. And then this is what we call as victim blaming. Can you really imagine? You know, I don't know what information the board has, but to me, this is pretty blatantly terrible. But the lawyer has a job, and she got him off. Now, we'll play devil's advocate. We'll take a step back. Here's a man. I also found his record. He was initially locked up, it seems, for dealing, and he was locked up. I'll post this in the description as well. In the 2017, he pleaded guilty to dealing, and then he got out on parole, and he was out for 19 months. So, you know, if that's anything that you want to add, is that for 19 months, he didn't get in trouble. He paid all his dues. He checked all the boxes. He did everything he was supposed to do. And then on the 19th month, after having a baby, breaking up with his girlfriend, he got really pissed, broke into her house with a crowbar, smashed her phone, and punched her in the face. They're giving him another chance. And all you got to do is hope that he doesn't hurt her. But that's just me. This is just my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. But I was a little bit triggered by the whole victim blaming thing. But with that, I will let you go.